pray that you give wisdom to our mayor and each council member. And I pray that as they deliberate over the business of our community, that they would make decisions that would be best for our community and for the benefit of our people. And Lord, I pray that you bless our law enforcement, our firefighters, our EMS personnel. I pray you keep them safe as they serve our community. Once again, we just ask that you would give us wisdom as we discuss the business here tonight. I want to thank you for giving us such a great place to live and a great place to raise a family. And Lord, we're grateful for all of these things. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Roll call.
Mr. Wilson?
Here.
Mr. Eckert?
Here.
Mr. Abrams?
Here.
Mr. Samuels?
Here.
Mrs. Van Cleve? Here. Mrs. Wilson?
Here.
Mr. Mayor, I move to excuse Ray because he doesn't feel well this evening from the council member.
I'll second. Roll call.
Mr. Eckert?
Yeah.
Mr. Abrams?
Yay.
Mr. Samuels?
Yay.
Mrs. Van Cleve? Yay. Mrs. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Wilson?
Yay.
Okay, with that, I just would like to make a statement. We did have some water penetration into the building, which has caused some technical difficulties with our equipment this evening. So we have a different form of recording for this evening's meeting. I do apologize for the inconvenience. Approved council meeting minutes and executive session minutes for September 17th, 2024.
So moved.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Mr. Abrams?
Yay.
Mr. Samuels?
Yay.
Mrs. Van Cleve? Yay. Mrs. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Eckert?
Yeah.
Moving to presentations, I'd like to invite the American Legion to the podium.
Jane is voting, I'll take the picture.
Mayor, I'd like to ask that the representative from the Harrison Cat Boosters come forward. Bring your entourage.
Absolutely.
They split the money.
The Charities Committee for the American Legion received a request from the Cat Boosters for us to help them with their drama club. And the Charities Committee approved their request in the amount of $2,000.
Tighten up, guys, tighten up. I glad you like each other.
Jerry, turn your
Thank
face
you.
sideways.
To your upcoming.
That's not working, so.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to
Yeah,
speak.
just talk about it. That's all right, I'm a teacher, I gotta take your voice. So thank you so much. This is so incredibly generous. We are so appreciative. I have a group of our kids with us representing high school down to junior high. The junior high has a production in November of Anastasia Junior. And at the end of October, the high school also has a play. This Murder Was Staged. So if you're available, it's October 25th, somewhere around there. And then 24th and 26th, and then November, it's the weekend before Thanksgiving, is Anastasia Junior. We'd love to have you come support us. Come see it. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, we'll go ahead and move into invited guests and visitors. Mr. Mike Lanes, sign up and speak. Good evening, sir.
Oh, that's right, there's no microphone. So
Yes.
I speak loud. So, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to come, I know that, lots of questions were swirling around the legal issues that I was involved with over the issues that happened over Easter weekend this past year. And now that that's resolved, I can talk a little bit more about that. And the first thing that I wanted to do once that happened was to come to the city and make an apology. I want to apologize to the greater Cincinnati, greater Harrison community at large, the city of Harrison, council, you, Mr. Mayor. I mean, what I did over that Easter weekend obviously was not appropriate for a council member or a citizen for that matter. I crossed the line that I shouldn't have, and I just wanted to come and make that public apology to everyone here tonight. I felt my attorney did not want me to talk about this until the case was settled, and now that it is, I felt it was an appropriate time to come and
we appreciate you taking the time to stop out this evening and present your apology. And, we appreciate it. So,
Yeah, I guess I was charged with three charges, and one was dismissed, and I was found guilty of the other two, so.
okay.
Yeah, and sentence was fairly minimal, because I had planned on, rather than paying the fine, trying to work down at the free store food bank to work off that time, community service, rather than pay $300 in fines or whatever it is. Sure, it's $100. I think I gotta pay $79 out of my pocket. Yeah, so that's that. Can I report on the motocross track while I'm here? I have some exciting news there. Last week, posted up on the Facebook page asking for donations so that we could rent equipment. And I was asking for $500 in donations, and in 3 hours, we raised over close to $800 in donations. So waiting on the quote back for the equipment, and we'll arrange to talk with you, Mr. Mayor, when we want to get down there and get the equipment down there and do the room work that we need to get done.
Perfect. We did go ahead and determine a close date. It's the last Sunday of November 24th.
I believe so. It's on the Facebook
Yes,
page.
so the 24th will be the last day for the motocross track. And then we'll be able to get in there, do some grooming, and actually probably potentially do grooming now, especially after all the rains that we've had. But then it will hold over until spring.
Right, I mean, I think we would like to get it groomed for the remainder of the season, be able to enjoy that, and then it does make a whole lot of sense if we can get the property, the park groomed after closure, so that it kind of holds that, it's ready to go in the spring.
Back down good.
Yeah, and then with the rain and the storms we had this past week, I was out there Sunday, clearing some trees, so.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate the effort that you put into making sure that it is clear, and, you know, obviously with the rain that we've had, while I prefer that it's open pretty much most days, it's a little bit soupy right now, so.
Yeah, maybe Thursday is a possibility. At this point, I wouldn't worry about the muddy damaging the track, and when we groom it, we'll want to protect the groom a little bit if we have some inclement weather.
No, I respect it to be open Thursday.
I think some folks tried to get that there right today, apparently.
Yes, I do apologize for the late notice on that.
Thank you.
So, but appreciate the update.
Thank you.
You have a great evening.
You too.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go ahead and move into the business session. The only item on the agenda is to vote on an ordinance approving the lease purchase agreement for a 2027 fire pumper truck for the city of Harrison Fire Department.
Motion approved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Mayor, just real quick, this is a replacement for pumper truck. The total amount borrowed, their total cost of the vehicle is about $962,000. This is an 8-year term, running at about 4.49%. The purchase of this vehicle did make its way through fire committee and through the finance committee. It is replacing a piece of equipment that is approximately close to between 25 and 30 years old. So it's really time before something bad really happens. We're without that piece of equipment. So
And it's taken 32 months to
yeah,
pay.
that's the other piece of it. You know, it is going to take I think 2.5 to 3 years.
35 months?
How many?
35 months.
35 months for delivery of that. So we are taking the steps to move forward with it. Hopefully we have no issues, knock on wood. Hopefully it's wood. But
Not sure.
yeah. So that's just a quick summary of what's with this purchase.
Very good. Any other discussion or questions?
It's hard to believe it takes 35 months to build a fire truck.
Well, yeah, it'll be paid off before it shows up.
We'll have 3 payments in before it shows up, so. But then they have to get it here successfully without damage, unlike the other one.
Well, yeah, right.
The last one.
Yeah.
So,
Keep your fingers crossed.
any other discussion? Very good. Roll call.
Mr. Samuels?
Yay.
Mrs. Van Cleve?
Yay.
Mrs. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Eckert?
Yeah.
Mr. Rabel?
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, we'll go ahead and move into reports, and I will go ahead and start with the mayor's report. First, at our last meeting, I did announce that I was going to attend a track funding presentation for Dry Fork Road. from our engineer's office all attended that along with Matt Eisenbrown. And did a great presentation and felt that it went really well. We are up against a lot of important projects, but I do feel that the presentation went over very well, was very well received, and they understand our need for the funding. I did make sure that I pointed out that it's been 25 years since we've been in front of them and that we hadn't received any funds from them. So hopefully we'll be successful with receiving that grant money, but we will not know until December in regards to whether we receive it or not. So I will continue to update you if we do hear anything. I did also attend our Economic Development Department. Matt Eisenbrown did put together a presentation. We've been partnering with Duke in regards to the gravel pit property across from Harrison High School and its development. We've been partnering with Duke on trying to prepare that land. Well, we've been partnering with the property owners, but we have brought in Duke and Ready Cincinnati and a whole group of other partners, region partners on the development of that property. With the limited amount of commercial land that we have available, it's incredibly important that we get that ready for development. Duke has presented us a $10,000 grant that we've already received the money on to help us in site readiness, studies, an array of other items that we need to check off prior to really getting into the meat of that process, where we'll have to run roads and sewer and water and everything back in there. But Duke was very kind in the presentation of that $10,000 to help us really kick off that process. I did end up having 2 school meetings. Career development, student development is really important, especially in this day and age, trying to keep and retain as many individuals in our community as possible. It is just paramount, So I did end up attending 2 school meetings, one in regards to DECA, start making contacts through our business-minded students, entrepreneurial-minded students, and then also a career development where we reviewed resumes, cover letters, and they were both very well attended by community members. And the school continues to do an excellent job in working with our students. In regards to Edgewood Road from Boffman down to New Haven is paved. And hopefully tomorrow we'll have stripes on it and people will be able to drive down it. So if you have a fancy new car, I believe it's going to be sunny and about 75 degrees. You may want to drive the best strip of road in Harrison. I do caution you because a lot of other people may want to drive that strip of road also. So, but that strip will be open, which means north of Boffman on Edgewood Road will be closed. So they can begin laying sewer pipe and then lay the temporary for the rest of the strip so we can get part of it running before winter comes. But keep your eyes open for all of that. I do want to thank our fire personnel. Last week, there was the styrene leak down at 50 and 128. Obviously, it was a very tense situation just because of the pure heat that it was generating. Don't know the exact causes for it, but our fire department answered the call. They went down with our ladder truck and continuously doused that tanker or that train car with water until it got to the point where it was cool enough to transport to the main rail yard downtown Cincinnati. But I'd also not only like to thank them, but I do want to thank, we had a local community member, Bill Halusik, that took the time to reach out to Chief while he was down there. And Mr. Halusik proceeded to reach out to Harrison LaRosa's on Tuesday and got 20, 25, 30 pizzas delivered for the emergency personnel down at the site. And then on Wednesday, he reached out to JTM, and JTM provided a full warm meal for all the emergency responders down at that incident. So I do want to thank Mr. Kalusik on his generosity, not only taking care of our firefighters, but all those that were there taking care of that scene. So thank you. And then on the 25th, I did attend the ribbon cutting for Hearth Brewery. I do want to encourage everybody to stop out and visit Hearth Brewery. The city had a great showing for that ribbon cutting, and actually we were all there, and the community members started showing up. They were also excited that they couldn't wait for the same Saturday grand opening. So, and from my understanding, while I was watching my grandkids, from my understanding, Hearth Brewery was packed on Saturday. So, want to congratulate them, and I want to encourage everybody to stop out and visit Hearth Brewery. So, and then the last item on my list was on Monday the 23rd, I attended an event called Warriors of Compassion up at Harrison Junior High School. It was a very well-attended event. As the director of the Harrison Community Mayor's Fund, obviously we want to try to take care of our community members that are in need. The Warriors of Compassion is geared towards the same thing, really taking care of those individuals that are in need. It could be drugs, it could be just out of work, it could be any number of things, but it's the desire of that team of individuals to really draw attention to and then help as many members in our community as possible. And I encourage everyone just to take some time to research that. Miss Patty joined me at the event, and I really thought it went over real good. So if you have a few minutes, take some time, research Warriors of Compassion, and if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to myself or Roseanne Moore up at City of Refuge. So that's the last item on my list. Mr. Walderecker, do you have a...
Mr. Mayor, members of council, I do not have a report this evening. Thank you.
Very good. Mr. Wilson?
Yes, sir, I do. We know we've got a district downtown that has been going pretty good, and it looks like we've lost one of our establishments down there because of lack of business. On the Rocks, I understand, is closed. So if the community wants to keep these places open, we need to participate with them. We did not have a fire department fire committee meeting tonight because all the people couldn't be there, but we're going to have it next on the 15th, at the same time. We are discussing having fire stations built, and our goal with the fire department, I believe, Mr. Fire Chief, is to try to get fire stations built that the maximum response time would be under 4 minutes. Is that pretty accurate?
4 to 6 minutes, yes, sir.
Okay. So that's what we got to report on the fire committee. We have a planning commission coming up on October the 8th. There are 3 things on the agenda. Zoning and use permit approval for 211 Harrison Avenue. It's going to be a comic book and classic memorabilia shop. There's also a company coming in for a partial split on the Trailhead development, and another company coming in for a conditional use permit on Madden Way. And that's my report, Mr. Mayor.
Very good, thank you. Mr. Ecker?
I have a brief report, sir, thank you. We have a tech and media committee meeting this evening.
We should probably add council chambers to our next tech discussion. Even though we just updated it all.
Right.
I think that would be a lack of tech discussion.
Sorry.
So, So, recently we had a network issue, and we have begun the discussions for ensuring that that issue doesn't happen again. We had the network failed. We met with HCC tonight. We're going to change the way the network's laid out. So That's gonna cost, the cost to do that is gonna be $2,500. And then, we had a couple of options. We moved to, replace some critical pieces of the network, and that'll be it'll be $42,000 for that, 42 and some change, and then we're gonna purchase a backup network card, and then 5 years from that, we'll have to purchase the license again. The access doors on the community center are working. That's going well. Then we discussed the survey that was put out. Matt Eisenbrown has all the results from that. If that's something that you're interested in, you can reach out to myself or Matt, and we'll get you the results. He's got the website analytics, everything that who's coming to our website. And then we also discussed the potential of a communications person here at the city. There was some good conversation around that, and it's something that I look forward to discussing more. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Mr. Akers?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, real quick, we did have a streets meeting tonight, and like always in the streets meeting, we have a discussion about Edgewood, and I thank you for updating that, because that is a hot topic there. 2 other topics to discuss. We were reached out to yourself and myself in reference to a crosswalk at Carolina Trace and Country Trace. So some different ideas have been thrown around, so we're gonna look into that. Maybe a traffic study that's already been done, and see how we can deal with that, and what type of crosswalk to look into. Also, after last month, we looked into Westbrook and West Road as a whole, and some issues there in reference to speed and turning right and the dangers of that. So we're just looking at some options that we discussed. Is if we were going to put a stop sign in, some speed humps, whether we're going to make a right turn only, or maybe at the intersection having a right and left turn. So different options were discussed, and we're just going to continue to look into that probably next month and the month after that. So that's all I got.
Very good, thank you, sir. Mr. Samuels?
Thank you, Mayor. I do have an update. Economic development met tonight. With the economic development, the first thing we talked about was communication. Is really somewhat of a carryover conversation related to the survey from our social media committee meeting tonight. So Tony already covered that. That cloud permit system is rolling out. The next modules to roll out will be for the planning commission. So adding new projects to the planning commission and funneling those through the system. Also the registrations, so contractor registrations where we may have a food truck, a vendor, someone soliciting through the city, passing out brochures or knocking on doors, things like that. They will be able to register online with this cloud permit system. Estimated go live is around November 1st. Matt did go over the activity report. I'm not going to read everything out here, but the activity is slowing down for the fall. Project permits, things like that are falling off, so it's just a normal process. Planning Commission, Joette talked about the Planning Commission and the activity going on. Jerry already spoke about that, so I'm not going to repeat it. One thing that Joette did cover, and I want to point out, and you kind of touched on it, Mayor, is a community workforce meeting that she attended on September 5th. Where it was local employers attended with a presentation from the reps at the high school. I think it was Mr. Pollock and Ms. Hayes from the high school. They did discuss the programs tailored to the workforce development that they have in place right now, describing the possibility of having internships set up and things like that. And the one thing this is why I want to bring it up, is really it perked a lot of the employers' ears, where they could have somebody coming in on the job training students get the experience, get the exposure to different jobs, you know, and it's helping build a workforce. So she was pleasantly surprised at a lot of the conversations that were going on in regards to that. So it kind of opened some people's eyes to some opportunities. That was good. So we're still working on the code enforcement, looking at property maintenance and possible code changes. No real timetable on that for right now, but it is something that Matt is working on. Matt did attend the district board meeting, and he was very encouraged in the movement of the meeting in terms of the proposals that are upcoming and the involvement from the board members in the direction they're going for the upcoming year. The Nectar update. If anybody has driven by the old Schroeder sale where Nectar is going in, they're still waiting on pavement. Hopefully within the next week or two, they'll get the pavement taken care of and they can move forward with their opening. The Duke Energy Site Readiness Grant, Mary kind of touched on this also. We did receive a $10,000 grant from Duke regarding this project. They did also provide a report, a site readiness report, which Matt did provide. I can't remember any of the details just yet because we just reviewed it. But really, it's just some information, some guidance on getting the project, getting the site ready for development, and also had a discussion on Enterprise Drive and the access of connecting the Enterprise Drive back to the quarry option. Also, Matt is looking into and doing the due diligence on some RIT and TIF opportunities for Paradigm and Enterprise Drive, which Paradigm would be a RIT, Enterprise would be a TIF, and there's one other prospect out there that he's looking into for a possible TIF, but he is doing the due diligence on that. And the comprehensive plan, the RFQs have been sent out, and we're just waiting on responses at this point. Once they do come back, it will be put before the committee for evaluation and moving forward with selecting a vendor. All right, on the finance committee. So on September 24th, the finance committee did meet. As always, we did review the revenue and expenditures report. No real surprises out there. Revenues and expenses seem consistent with budget. We are seeing a little bit higher revenues, which we are encouraged by. And our current cash balance is solid with about $24.6 million invested, earning interest that is coming back to the city. Noteworthy items, the water fund, you know, I think I said this last month and I brought it up for a couple months in a row now. The revenues are lower than budget. The committee did agree to utilize UFS for a rate study, so we're going to move forward with a rate study to look and see where our rates are at and to see, you know, if a rate adjustment is needed. I mean, obviously, the water fund is not, the revenues are not keeping up with expenses, so obviously there's going to be a rate increase that's going to come through. So we'll look forward to the results on that. No budget amendments were discussed. I would imagine there will probably be some for the next meeting, or the first meeting in November. Utility director, we had a quick conversation. The position is still being recruited for. The mayor and our council committee will be working with the Ohio plan to fill that role. Replacement of the pumper truck, we kind of talked about it already. We did vote to move forward with the loan for that vehicle. So one thing I don't know if I mentioned, the payments on that will be about $145,000 a year over the 8-year term of that. We also decided to move forward with the additional Medicaid billing revenue project, which is expected to bring forward about $90,000 to $300,000 per year beginning in 2026 if approved by the federal government, or our application is approved by the federal government. One conversation that we did have in Finance Committee that actually started in Police Committee with Mr. Edgar voicing his concerns about the lack of school zone signage on West and Drive Fork. That was essentially brought forward the Finance Committee. Chief Lindsay brought forward options for identifying school zones that included pavement markings, flashing solar crosswalk signs, and flashing solar school zone 20-mile-per-hour signs. Total cost would be about $30,000. Chief did speak with Mr. Hampshire at the school district, and he seemed open to the possibility of sharing the cost of the project. The committee agreed to sharing the cost of the upgrades with the school district. More information to come, but it looks like our total cost to the city would be about $15,000. But like I said, more information to come on that. 2025 operating budget, still under development. director meetings were completed. I appreciate the effort from all the directors on working with Kim and meeting with the finance committee to review their financial needs for the upcoming year. The finance committee review will be completed on October 11th at 10 a.m. Also, the goal is to have the budget presented by the first meeting of December. So that'll be brought forward for the committee or before council for approval, hopefully the first meeting of December. And the last thing I want to talk on, or we did talk about, but I want to make sure I point this out because we've got a huge project looming. It's a huge infrastructure project for the city. Obviously, there's going to be huge financial impact, but I just want to give everyone an update on the numbers where we're showing, as of right now, the approximate cost of the project is going to be about $8.6 million. The approximate grant funding we have at this point is about $5.5 million, which means the local share of the project will be about $3.1 million shared between the city and the township, and no doubt the city is going to absorb most of that cost. This is the numbers I'm sharing. Obviously, I just want to get the information out there. However, these are all subject to change based on the final estimate for the bid and also any additional grants that we do receive for this project. In terms of funding this from city funds, we have approximately $1 million in a capital improvement fund that we've been saving over a couple of years, knowing that this project was coming down the pipeline. We have additional funding provided by excess revenues, which we're hoping approximately between $1 to $1.5 million. The remaining amount will be budgeted in '25. The additional funding options will be sought out to reduce the local share of this project, but it is our understanding that these monies will have to be escrowed in 2026, so that is our date for having these monies available. So with that, that's all I have, Mayor. I know it's a lot.
You guys talked about me talking so much.
I never
His
did that
name in the
one.
hat, so, okay. Mrs. Van Cleef.
In regards to utilities, thank you to Duke Energy. The outages from the storm Friday were handled as quickly as possible. I believe that all repairs were handled within 24 hours in the city, which is great. And our thoughts and prayers go out to those impacted by the hurricane at this time. I also had a tree board meeting, and we are working with Nectar currently on their parking lot to make sure it fits our expectations. And we are also adding more trees to Stone Drive near the new brewery and Key Bank, and that will be happening very soon.
Great.
And that is all I have, Mayor.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mrs. Wilson.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. Excuse me. Just to remind the community that Spooktacular will be held here at the Community Center on Sunday, October 27th from 5 to 8. Bring the kids. We'll have games, candy, fun, and food. It's always a great time. An update on the hero banners that are on Harrison Avenue. I believe they've all been spoken for. There's 30 banners. I believe we got 30 new banners going up. It's great working with Frontier Signs, especially Sherry, because she's just right on everything.
She is.
But they should be going up right around the first part of November for Veterans Day. The old ones will be taken down and they will be brought to the community center. So you can, if you had one up there, you can come down here and pick it up at the community center after they're taken down. The new ones will be up from approximately November through the end of June, and then those will be taken down and new ones will be going up. So we try to put it on a 6-month rotation. We'll start taking applications for the new banners approximately in May of 2025. Again, I'd like to thank Acre Best Post 199 for again helping sponsor the banners to help keep the price of the banner down for our veterans and their families. And today being the first Tuesday of the month, it is Be the One Day. Remember to check in on your friends, your family, and your neighbors. Make sure that they're okay. And tomorrow night, Wednesday night, we have a community center improvement meeting. here at 7 p.m. And on October the 9th will be the Recreation Committee meeting at 7 p.m. here at the Community Center. That's all I have, Mayor.
Very good, thank you. Anything else to discuss? Very good, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Roll call?
Mrs. Van Cleve? Here. Mrs. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Wilson? Mr. Acker?
Yeah.
Mr. Abram? Mr. Samuel?
Yeah.
She wants to stay.